Well, welcome back, and welcome back to my classroom. Today we're going on a field trip, and this is an activity that I do with my students earlier in the year as we talk about perspective. So I just have my kids, as I'll ask you, wherever you are, unless you're driving or you need your eyes, to close your eyes, and I'm going to take you on a little journey because we no longer have actual money to go on real field trips like we used to back in the day. So we'll use our mind, and it can be pretty powerful. Once you imagine that we're going on a field trip, we're going on a journey. Now, where we live in this area of Southern California, we're about 15 minutes driving to the beach. That is kind of our backyard. And all along the coastline, beaches, it's just beautiful. I have my kids imagine we're going on a field trip, we're gonna take a helicopter, and it's one of those big helicopters they use for transport with the double rotor blades and big double doors. And so we all clamber in, find our seats, and there's windows on both sides, and you're excited. Like, I have never been in a helicopter. I can only imagine, it's pretty intense, and we put on our headphones with the mic so we can hear each other over the clamor and thumping and beating of the rotor blades above. And we're all secure, we're all locked in, close the double doors, and boom, right? Pilot does his thing, and we lift off and start gaining altitude, and the kids are, looking out, and it's just fun to see the excitement, fun to watch them, see different parts of our city, of our town from a different perspective, obviously up above, recognizing certain roofs of, oh, I think that's my house, or, that's the restaurant I love going to, they have great cheeseburgers. And so as we're flying towards the ocean, that is west, we're just busy looking at everything from this different perspective, and being up and above is exciting, and being in a vehicle that's moving us somewhere else is exciting. So there's great energy in the helicopter. Within a couple minutes, we're now over the beach, and you can see we have big volleyball tournaments over in these beaches over here. So the courts are always set up, and there's always people playing, and there's other people, playing in the surf, and some surfers, and it's beautiful. And they're looking, and oh, that looks so pretty, that's so fun, and we keep cruising now over the ocean, and you can kind of crane your head back and see, the coast, and it's getting smaller and smaller back there, and like, wow, this is wild. Oh my God, look at the waves. And nothing crazy, it's nothing stormy. It's in fact a beautiful sunny day. But there's waves out there, and they crest, and the little white foam tips kind of dissipate as they rise and fall. And at this point, maybe 10, 15 minutes in, we are well over the ocean, to the point where, when you look through the windows, there is no coastline. It's on both sides of the helicopter, it is ocean for days. And at this point, the kids start no longer getting so excited about what they're seeing, because it's basically the same thing, deep, dark blue waves for as far as the eyes can see. And over the, microphone system, they, hey, Sperling, where are we going? I said, we're going west. We're going still maybe 10 more minutes over the ocean. And we do. And they just kind of settle in, and now they're not so intent on seeing something, because it's about the same. Deep, dark blue ocean, waves with the white foam tips as they crest and fall. Finally, the helicopter slows to a hover. And now it's, okay, something new, something exciting. They all start looking at me outside, like, what's gonna happen? And the helicopter lowers to about maybe 10 feet above the water. And, at this point, with the rotors, the air is, causing the waves to kind of spray and splash lightly on the windows and oh my God, we're so close to the ocean. Like, are there whales or something, dolphin, or is that why we're out here? And co-pilot opens up the double doors, and I'm like, okay, everybody, release the seatbelt, and it's time. It's time to get in. And they're kind of like shocked, right? And so they all start jumping in. Some are a bit more reluctant, but we unpry their hands and toss them in. At this point, this fun field trip has taken a very dramatic turn. And at this point, my kids, when I direct this activity and they've had their eyes closed, and usually they're smiling and just kind of their eyebrows as they're imagining all these things they might be seeing, their eyes have opened and they're looking at me like, yo, this is, I did not sign up for this field trip. Like, what's going on? I redirect the conversation, or the guided tour, if you will, to some more pointed questions. Now that you are all in the ocean, how are you feeling? And everybody, I'm afraid, I can't swim, I'm freaking out, right? Some shark's gonna get me, it's cold, I'm gonna die, hypothermia. Like, it's getting really desperate. And they're looking at me with anger, with fear, with frustration, with shock. Like, I trusted you. You know what? I thought this was going to be fun, and you've betrayed me. You've all but killed me, because I'm going to drown in this vast ocean of deep dark blue with waves that rise and have a frosty white tip as they ebb and flow. And then I tell them, turn around, look behind you. Behind you, about 20 feet, is one of those huge red buoys. They use them to establish the shipping lanes. They are so big and the platform is so large that seals can jump on and bask and take a break and sunbathe all day if they'd like. And I tell them, behind you is this buoy. Now what are you going to do? And the answer is obvious. We are going to swim there. And the question is why? Because I'm no longer lost. Now I have somewhere to go. Now I have a place to reach, so I can survive, so I can live. And the discussion changes in its energy and its emotion from one of futility, one of hopelessness, one of despair, one of fear, not even anxiety, just absolute terror and anger, right? That I've subjugated them to this situation, to now one of hope, to one of semi-frantic, desperation to grab hold to the side of this buoy, to clamber on top of it, right? That's where the activity begins. That is our premise. At this point, all eyes open, all eyes on me, and we start kind of breaking down what just happened from something really cool, really fun. We were able to discern where we were based on, the roofs and the houses and the restaurants that we had seen or visited, the beach where we had played volleyball or where we sunbathed or swam. And as we got into the depths of ocean and its vast expansion of indiscernible, just wave after wave, same color, uniform, we lost our perspective. We no longer had a point from which to compare, from which to establish we are here because we can measure ourselves to that point. Once they had the buoy placed in the scenario, now they could establish perspective. And with perspective, they could create purpose. They knew they had a direction. You can move towards it or away from it, but it is now in your realm, in your environment, in your mind, in your life, and it is a part of you for how you are going to interact with it. Now, buoys, the metaphorical buoys in our oceans, typically are people, right? And we swim towards these buoys, the people that we admire, that we love, that we look up to, that inspire us, that motivate us, that educate us, that make us feel good, that benefit us in one way or another. We swim towards those people in our lives. And likewise, the buoys that are the antithesis of all those traits. We don't share the same values or morals or convictions or behaviors. We don't admire them. We don't hold them in esteem. We don't think they're healthy or beneficial to us. We use them in our ocean, right, in our lives, and swim away from them. So the buoy, that is, the people in your lives, you are either swimming towards them or away from them. And I think this is not only good perspective on, or understanding on perspective, that is why we need people in our lives, and how we kind of use these markers or buoys or points of perspective to help us with our compass to better direct and navigate our lives. But it's important also to remember even the negative buoys are part of our ocean. And for as much damage or dislike, they still exist if only, and this does not undermine or belittle their importance in your life, even though it's a negative one, they're providing the clarity that allows you to realize that is not the direction you want to swim in. That's not the direction you want to move towards. And so they might hold an unpleasant place in your heart. Nevertheless, they serve you in a very important way to help you discern where not to go, how not to behave, how not to be. So positive or negative, the buoys in your ocean give you the perspective that helps you create purpose. That is why you do the things that you do, why you are moving towards or away from the things in your life. Obviously, we hope that we are navigating through adversity and challenge and difficulty to improve, right? To find a healthier, more beneficial, clearer path that gives us greater fulfillment, greater joy, mental and physical health. And these buoys are essential to giving us that perspective. And all you need is that one point, that one buoy, and then you know, I now have a direction. I'm either moving towards them or away from them. So that's one point. The other point, to remind everyone in this scenario, is that we are also a buoy. We're a buoy in two ways. One, for others. And people might swim towards us or away from us for however they perceive us, right? Their perspective based on where they are and where we are, and they make that judgment, they make that decision, they make that call. They either want to connect in a positive way or move away from in order to preserve something positive in their life, right? We're negative and they want something different than us. And we see that in our relationships, right? All of this is another word for this interaction. It's our relationships with other people. But being buoys ourselves for others, we have relationship with ourselves as well. And this relationship is kind of, I don't know if you want to call it like an internal buoy, right? To kind of visualize it, but as a source of stability, of calm, of sense, of direction, of moral compass, we first and foremost need to be able to rely on ourselves, trust ourselves, believe in ourselves, listen to ourselves, and talk to ourselves in ways that align with our values, align with our goals, align with our belief systems. So we are our best friend, not our worst enemy, right? And so recognizing how we are also a buoy to ourselves, right? That's that self-reliance, that's that autonomy, that's that independence, that's that confidence and that stability that we need first and foremost before we even look out to then make reference to other people, other buoys in our lives. So this whole activity is about perspective, and it's understanding that we need people in our lives, both good and bad, as long as we recognize them as such, in order to see them as reference points to help us navigate our lives. So I wanted to share the activity and the perspective. You can always go on a field trip as long as you've got creativity and inspiration. I wish you good thoughts, good perspective on yourself and the buoys in your lives. Until then, take care.